From a humble shoemaker in a small German town to a global sportswear giant, the Adidas journey's nothing short of remarkable. Let's uncover the chapters of this iconic brand's evolution. Join us as we trace the steps of Adidas. In the quaint town of Herzogenaurach, Germany, a place renowned for its footwear finesse, a young lad named Adolf was born on the 3rd of November, 1900. Now, if you're picturing a baby with tiny sneakers, hold that thought. Adolf, or Adi Dassler, was the youngest sprout in a family of 4 siblings. His dad, Christoph, was a tailor who probably knew a thing or two about stitches and seams, while his mom, Pauline, was the boss lady of the family laundry business. Adi's big brother, Rudolf Dassler, not only shared a last name, Adi, but they also shared dreams, ambitions, and a love for sports. In a bid to help out his mom and to make his dad proud, young Adolf decided to hit the books and complete high school. After that, he rolled up his sleeves and dived into an apprenticeship to become, wait for it, a baker. Yep, you heard that right. But after kneading dough and baking bread, Adi thought, this isn't quite the right fit for me. So he swapped his baker's hat for a cobbler's apron and delved into the world of shoemaking. When Adi wasn't crafting shoes or helping with the family business, he was out and about, indulging in his love for sports. Alongside his childhood buddy, Fritz Zeylein, who was the son of a local blacksmith and a key player in this story, Adi dabbled in everything from track and field to football, boxing, ice hockey, skiing, and even ski jumping. He racked up quite the athletic resume. But here's the kicker. Amidst all these sports, Adi noticed something peculiar. Every athlete, regardless of the sport, seemed to be wearing the same shoes. And that, folks, sparked an idea in Adi's mind. An idea that would soon revolutionize the world of sports footwear. During the tumultuous times of World War I, Adi was drafted into the German army. After it all ended, he returned to Herzogenaurach that was grappling with the aftermath of the war. The economy was in shambles, and jobs were as rare as a sunny day in winter. But Adi, with that spark of determination, wasn't one to be deterred. He looked at the old laundry shed at the back of the Dassler family home and saw potential. Transforming it into a shoe workshop, he began repairing shoes, earning a modest income. With some time and resources on his hands, Adi started toying with the idea of not just repairing, but making shoes, specialized sports shoes to be exact. One of his earliest creations, a pair of spiked running shoes for track and field athletes. And guess what? Those spikes weren't just any spikes. They were hand-forged by none other than Fritz Zeylein, the local blacksmith and Adi's childhood sports buddy. As word spread about Adi's craftsmanship, his older brother Rudolf saw an opportunity. Joining forces, the duo registered their company in 1924 as Gebrüder Dassler, Sportska Fabrik, Herzogenaurach. Rudolf, with his boisterous salesmanship, and Adi, with his meticulous craftsmanship, were quite the pair. They start crafting shoes in their mom's kitchen. But as with any startup, there were challenges. The town's electricity was as unpredictable as a cat's mood. Sometimes the brothers had to pedal a stationary bicycle to power their equipment. Their innovative, lightweight sports shoes started gaining traction, pun intended. So much so they had to move to a factory near the train station. And then came their magnum opus, the lightweight spiked shoes. These shoes caught the attention of American athlete Jesse Owens, who they were able to convince to wear their shoes at the Berlin Olympics in 1936. And oh boy, did he make a statement. Owens clinched the gold medal, and other athletes couldn't help but notice those snazzy shoes. By the end of the games, athletes wearing Geta shoes had bagged a whopping 17 medals. This was the turning point for the Dassler brothers. What were these brothers putting in their shoes of excellence? Everyone suddenly wanted to own them, but then everything comes to a standstill. While the company was riding high on success, one of Adi's teachers, Franz Marz, had a daughter who turned Adolf's head. That was the enigmatic Kada. The two hit it off, and by 1934, they tied the knot. A few years later, when the world was on the brink of change, both Dassler brothers, seeing the political wind shift, joined the Nazi Party. Adolf even took on a significant role, becoming the sportwart in the Hitler Youth, a position he held until the war's conclusion. As World War II raged on, the Dassler factory, known for its sports shoes, found itself in a different kind of production. They began supplying shoes to the Wehrmacht, the Nazi army. But by 1943, the tides of war demanded more. The factory, once bustling with the hum of shoemaking machines, was repurposed to manufacture anti-tank weapons. 1945 brought a pivotal moment. The factory, on the verge of being decimated by the US Army, was spared, thanks to Adi's wife, who passionately argued that their primary focus was sports shoes. The narrative took an interesting twist when the American troops realized that this very factory had produced the shoes Jesse Owens wore during his iconic Olympic run. Suddenly, the Dassler shoes became a hot commodity among the troops. But not all was well in the Dassler household. After the war, tensions between the brothers reached a boiling point. Rudolf, having been captured by the Allies, harbored a suspicion that Adolf had betrayed him. This mistrust, coupled with their already strained relationship, led to a split that would reshape the sports shoe industry. By 1948, two new brands emerged from the ashes of their joint venture: Adidas, championed by Adolf, and Ruda, Rudolf's brainchild, which would later evolve into the iconic Puma. After the intense feud with his brother, Adi Dassler decided it was time to carve his own path. He thought of a new name he could call his company. It was at this point the trademark name Adidas we all know came into existence. Registering Adidas as his new company name, the moniker was ingeniously derived from Adi's nickname and the first three letters of his surname, Dassler. But Adi wasn't the only one with ambitions. Upon discovering his brother's new venture, Rudolf packed his bags under the cover of night and headed south of the river, laying the foundation for his own shoe factory. This sibling rivalry didn't just stay within the family, it divided their entire hometown. The Orange River became a symbolic divide, with Adidas reigning to the north and Puma, Rudolf's brand, to the south. The townspeople, many of whom worked for one of these shoe giants, were caught in this feud. They frequented separate stores, bars, and even barber shops, loyalty evident in the brand of shoes they wore. In fact, this division was so pronounced that Herzogenaurach earned the moniker the town of bent necks, as residents would often glance at one's shoes before deciding to strike up a conversation. The animosity between the brothers persisted, and reconciliation remained a distant dream. Even in death, they lay at opposite ends of the town cemetery. By 1952, Adi acquired the iconic three-stripe logo from Finnish athletic footwear brand Karhu Sports, in a deal involving 2 whiskey bottles and 1,600 euros. Adi Dassler's innovative spirit didn't stop with the securing of the iconic 3 stripes. One of his most groundbreaking designs was the first ever soccer shoe with screw-in studs, known as the Adidas Samba. This shoe made its grand debut in the 1954 World Cup. The West Germany football team wore Sambas in the final and won with a 3-2 victory, giving Adi and Adidas praise for the remarkable shoes. Germany's Helmut Rahn scored the winning goal and claimed it was, in part, credited to the advantage his new boots provided. They were not only lighter, but also offered better grip, thanks to the combination of leather and synthetic materials. The 1960s saw Adidas branching out, adding clothing and accessories to their product line. By 1970, they had secured their position as the official supplier to FIFA and the German national soccer team. The design of football boots remained relatively unchanged for about 25 years after the introduction of Adidas Samba. However, the Adidas Copa Mundial changed the game. This boot was a marvel in both its playing capabilities and its manufacturing process. One of its standout features was the screw-in stud concept, which Adi Dassler had pioneered. This allowed players to adapt to different weather conditions. In fact, the Copa Mundial quickly became the most sought-after football boot. The 1990s and 2000s were decades of endorsements for Adidas. They sponsored renowned soccer players, ensuring the brand's position as one of the top 2 sportswear brands. In the realm of basketball, Adidas had partnerships with legends like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Tim Duncan, Tracy McGrady, and even Kobe Bryant. Fast forward to today, and Adidas boasts of sponsoring Lionel Messi, arguably the best soccer player in the world. Adidas, however successful, was not to have a smooth, problem-free sailing to eternal success. Granted, Adi Dassler's legacy was a fascinating one. He was married to Kata until his death from heart failure in 1978, and together they had 5 children. Their son, Horst Dassler, made his own mark in the sports world by founding Arena in 1973, a brand known for its swimming equipment. After Adolf's passing, the reins of Adidas were handed over to Horst and Kata. However, tragedy struck again when Kata passed away in 1984, and just 3 years later, Horst too met his untimely demise. The subsequent years were tumultuous for Adidas. With the death of Horst in 1987, the company faced a series of challenges. But as fate would have it, in 1990, the French industrialist Bernard Tapie stepped in, purchasing the company. Tapie was known for his knack for turning around bankrupt companies. Tapie acquired Adidas for a whopping 1.6 billion francs, equivalent to 243.9 million euros today. He borrowed the entire amount to seal the deal. Tapie, always the innovator, decided to shift production to Asia, and in a move that could only be described as Madonna-level genius, he roped in the Queen of Pop herself for some promotional magic. By 1992, Tapie, now the Minister of Urban Affairs, decided to part ways with Adidas. Tapie found himself in a financial pickle, unable to pay off the loan interest. He entrusted Credit Lyonnais with the task of finding a suitable buyer. The bank, in a rather unexpected move, bought the sports brand for 318 million euros using a shell company. But Tapie's troubles were far from over. He declared personal bankruptcy bankruptcy the same year and found himself embroiled in lawsuits, some even related to match fixing. He even had a brief stint in La Santé prison in Paris in 1997. After Tapie found out that the bank did not sell the club, instead they took it over through a shell company, Tapie's reaction to this was palpable. He exclaimed, "They ruined me, humiliated me, they liquidated my assets. Meanwhile, they were making a fortune at my expense." In a twist of events, the shell company appointed Tapie's friend, Louis Dreyfus, as the CEO of Adidas. And just a few years later, the bank sold Adidas for double the amount they had paid to Louis Dreyfus. During the post-Tapie era of Adidas, the company underwent significant changes in growth. Under the leadership of Louis Dreyfus as CEO, Adidas witnessed a remarkable increase in revenue, which quadrupled to a whopping 5.84 billion euros from 1993 through 2000. This was no small feat and showcased the company's resilience and adaptability. But the growth wasn't just in numbers. Strategically, Adidas began to expand its horizons by acquiring other companies. They took over the Salomon Group, known for its specialization in ski wear. This acquisition allowed Adidas to tap into the winter sports market, broadening its product range. Not stopping there, Adidas also acquired TaylorMade, a renowned golf company. This move was significant, as it allowed Adidas to compete head-to-head with Nike in the golf sector. Alongside TaylorMade, Adidas also took over MaxFly, further solidifying its position in the golf industry. By 2004, Adidas brought a touch of high fashion to the brand. English fashion designer Stella McCartney teamed up with Adidas to launch Adidas by Stella McCartney, a sports performance collection for women. In 2005, Adidas decided to part ways with their partner company, Salomon Group, selling it for 485 million euros to Amer Sports of Finland. But that wasn't the only big move they made that year. They also set their sights on Reebok, acquiring it for $3.8 billion. This move not only expanded their footprint in North America, but also positioned them as a formidable competitor to Nike on the global stage. Innovation was the name of the game in 2005, when Adidas introduced the Adidas One, the world's first production shoe with a microprocessor. This intelligent shoe could adjust its cushioning based on its environment, and in case you're wondering, yes, it did come with a user-replaceable battery. Talk about stepping into the future. 2006 saw Adidas making a slam dunk by announcing an 11-year deal to become the official NBA clothing provider, taking over the previous Reebok deal. Recent years have seen Adidas making strides, both in terms of innovation and business decisions. They've acquired fitness tech firm Runtastic, and even sold TaylorMade Golf Company. And in a significant move in 2022, they sold Reebok to the Authentic Brands Group for a cool $2.5 billion. Adidas have become a brand we've all come to know and perhaps even wear. But like many big names, Adidas has had its fair share of controversies. So, once upon a time during World War II, Adidas, like many German companies of that era, had a dark chapter. They used forced labor in their factories, working hand in hand with the Nazis. It's a part of history that's hard to digest, especially when you think of the brand's iconic 3 stripes. Fast forward to more recent times, Adidas has come under scrutiny for its labor practices, especially in Indonesia. The company shifted its preference from union-supporting suppliers to those with questionable labor rights. Additionally, the PT Cazone factory, which catered to brands like Nike and the Dallas Cowboys, closed in 2011, leaving many unpaid. While Nike stepped up to assist, Adidas was hesitant, leading students to campaign against university partnerships with the brand. But there's more. In 2020, Adidas's HR head, Karen Parkin, resigned. Why? Some black employees felt she wasn't tackling workplace racism effectively. Her calling racism just noise didn't go over well. After leaving, she apologized and backed the company's push for racial justice. In short, Adidas is one of resilience and determination, but yet it still carries an inevitable tinge of loss and controversy. If you'd like to stay up to date with more stories like this, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification button. See you in our next video. Ciao.